Today we're with Michael Grossman of Regenis Company, based in Northwest Washington State. They've got some exciting new technology related to animal waste management. We're going to ask Michael Grossman to tell us a little bit about the company and some of their current products.
Well, thanks, Joel. Really appreciate the time. Thanks for having me on to talk about the company. Regenis actually got started back in about 2002. They are in Northwest Washington is a dairy country, Washington State being one of the largest dairy producing states in the country. And the founders of the company were, who ran initially a sheet metal company, were asked by some of their neighbors, dairy farmers, to help them test out an anaerobic digester and build it for them. And that has been 15 years now. And since they've grown to be one of the largest builders of anaerobic digesters in the Western United States. In more recent years, we've added a more diverse portfolio of technology. As your audience is well aware, digester specialty is killing pathogens, bacteria, and capturing methane, turning it into biogas. But not every dairy farmer has the same requirements. Some need to deal with their nutrient management as opposed to methane capture. California, obviously, with more stringent regulations on methane release than other states, whereas states like Wisconsin are more concerned with phosphorus, and you still have other states that are concerned with nitrogen. And so as an agricultural waste solutions company, Joel, we have broadened our scope so that we can serve all of our friends in the dairy industry and not have to recommend a cookie cutter solution. We can offer them solutions that fit their needs in a time where it's getting more and more expensive to comply with regulations and hauling manure, as well as in states that have, like California, cap and trade program, capturing methane and making sure that that anything that's returned to the watershed is free of fecal coliform, E. coli, or any other bacteria that might be in the manure stream.
Just earlier this week, you announced a grant and the installation of a new water purification system on a dairy in Northwest Washington, a 2,500 cow dairy. And it looked like it had some exciting new technologies in terms of water purification. Tell us a little bit about this aspect of the Regenis work.
Sure, Joel. I'm happy to share the great news. As we discussed, one of the biggest issues with dairies is how to handle their nutrient load. A second issue is the amount of water that dairies require. In some instances, they're using well water and having to pump from aquifers in order to get as much water as they need. In Northwest Washington, there are some new laws around how much water is required before any development can occur. And so we realized that it would be important to deal with all of these issues. So we received slightly under $1 million grant from the Washington State Conservation Commission to put in a clean water membrane technology system at a place called Coal Farms Technology in a little town called Deming. And the way that this technology works is in tandem with a fine separation system in order to separate solids. But at the end of the day, roughly 55 to 60% of the manure that comes into the waste stream can be returned as clean water, with 99.9% of the solids removed, 98% of the phosphorus removed. And this can work with or without an anaerobic digester. So that water, in the case of the Coal Farms project, is going to be able to be returned into a local river. It's that clean. The farms also could use it if they wanted to as drinking water for their cows, or they could use it as wash water for the farm. It's a significant leap in what is available on the market. And again, it is, you know, when you're able to take out 98% of the phosphorus, 35 to 40% of your nitrogen. And the other great part of this is manure is 3/4 water. In this separation system between the fine solid separator and the clean water system, you're able to extract all the water from the solids. The practical application for that is, or practical implication for that is that it's going to significantly reduce road miles for hauling manure, whether that be to a distant field for nutrients or to just take it off the farm. We think that you know, we can take 500 trucks off the road and remove about almost 14,000 tons a year of manure that has to be trucked. So it's a significant savings for the dairy, as well as the concentrated nutrients that come from this, which is a fossil-free fertilizer. And we are having one of our local berry farm and a local seed potato farm taking that concentrated nutrient, and they're going to be using it for their fields. So we're very excited about how this closed loop system works for everybody.
That sounds exciting. And part of the announcement was that around the 1st of August, you're going to be making this technology more widely available to the dairy and other livestock species, I guess. Tell us briefly how that might go.
Sure. Well, obviously the first project deals with the dairy industry, although it is applicable for hogs and chickens as well. Starting August 1st, we are going to be taking orders for this system. And as I said before, we try not to produce a cookie cutter system, so we can tailor these systems to meet the needs of a particular dairy. Our first dairy has 2,500 cows. We're going to be taking in 22,000 gallons a day in manure. Some dairies may need 50,000, some may need 100,000 gallons of manure a day to go through our system. And we can do any of it. We can scale up to whether it be with a modular container or building an entire building if necessary to house the equipment. As I said, each of these systems can be used for any sort of agricultural waste, and you will derive 3 different products. One, the clean water. Second, the very concentrated nutrients. Each 1,000 gallons treated, you'll get 200 gallons of solids for bedding, fertilizer, peat replacement, 300 gallons of liquid concentrate that can be sent through drip lines and other irrigation systems, 500 gallons suitable for discharge to a U.S. water body with a permit. Just so you know, each 1,000 gallons will contain about 25 pounds of nitrogen, 10 pounds of potassium, 3 pounds of phosphorus. 98% plus of all of these end up in the solids and liquid concentrate, not in the clean water. So it is designed to suit individual dairies, regardless of what their needs are. And, we will be taking orders starting the 1st of August. The systems generally take from order to installation about 4 to 6 months. We give a range. The larger the system, the longer it takes to build, because we're building them in a custom fashion. These aren't just put out like a line of Model T Fords. Each one has to be individually built to suit the farm. once you get above about treating 80,000 gallons a day, it's going to take a little longer because we would actually have to build a building and deal with permitting issues and all the ancillary things that go along with having to build a separate facility.
Sure. And just to wrap up, tell us how folks should get in touch with you if they want to get more information.
Sure. Well, our website is www.regenis.net, or you can call us at 360-366-9900. And my colleague, Eric Powell, is our sales manager on these projects because he's been involved with them since the technology from the beginning. And he can share an encyclopedia's worth of facts and figures and knowledge about these systems and how they work. And we want to be as transparent about it as possible. So we're actually going to, once this first system is installed and operating by this fall, we're going to have on-site tours. So if a dairy farmer wants to actually see it working, we'll be happy to tour them through and show exactly what they're buying.
Sounds like a exciting new technology to help everybody in dairy as we deal with our nutrient management issues. We've been speaking with Michael Grossman with Regenis, and this is Joel Hastings with Dairy Business News.